Om. Namaste. All right, so this morning we have Yin Yoga, a glorious class planned for lots of flexion and extension in your back, a little bit of twisting, and a class designed to give you some happy thighs and hips. So you should be leaving feeling fantastic. Let's make sure we've got some props, 2 blocks, a blanket, and if possible, a bolster or some really thick pillows can come in handy. To start today's class, let's go ahead and start right down in child's pose. So set yourself up, take your time. You can have your feet slightly wider apart or your knees slightly wider apart to suit your hips, to suit your knees. We're going to come down, we're going to try and rest our forehead or our chin to the floor and stretch our arms out forward to just activate a little bit into the arms. And I want to encourage the use of our Ujjayi breath right away here this morning. So let's go ahead and bring in some soft oceanic sounds of Ujjayi. And I'm going to encourage you to start breathing deeply into the low belly and the low back, diaphragmatic breaths that expand, lift and open right up into the belly, maybe pressing into the low back. Deep, full breaths. Breathing deeply into the belly, into the low back, maybe even expanding that breath to feel a little bit of the quality of breath expanding into the ribs and the middle back. And even breathing into the belly, the low back, the ribs, the middle back, and maybe exploring a breath that reaches even toward chest, opening, expanding, lifting the chest and the upper back. Two more breaths here. Just gently walk the hands, elbows back, sitting up. Just going to untuck the feet. And we're going to set up for butterfly. what I definitely recommend here is having your blanket and folding it up nice and thick so you can sit right on a rounded edge of your blanket. And our soles of the feet are coming together. With the blanket, we want to not just sit higher, stacked, but rolling the hips off the edge of the blanket so the hips are rotated slightly forward. Now your feet can be nice and close to your hips, or they can be a really long way out. It's whatever's going to feel better for you. Sitting up tall to begin, making sure you're feeling even left to right, balanced. Make any adjustments you need to. Now your hands on this one can do a few different things. You can reach your arms forward. You can take your arms behind your back or even behind the back, clasp elbows to broaden open the shoulders, which is just an option. And we just want to tuck in the chin and round ourselves forward into our butterfly. So think about utilizing your breath here. Every inhale, expanding softly into your belly and ribs. And every exhale, softening deeper. Maybe you move and you fall another millimeter deeper into the stretch. Each breath continuously, slowly, very gently, we find the body starts to release and allow us to find the deeper expression of this pose. Perfect opportunity here just to arrive. So just take a few breaths where you're just allowing yourself to land on your mat today. Remembering and reconnecting with this idea that each time we step onto our mat, it is very much our time that we've put aside to take care of self, to work toward our highest good and our highest self. And with that acknowledgement, it's much easier to align with our intention for our practice, and with the alignment to our intention and making that clear and going back over our reason and rhyme for practice. We can make it very clear for our unconscious mind and our conscious mind to work together in the direction of the parasympathetic nervous system, this calming, down-regulating, and this beautiful restorative response for Yin Yoga. So just taking some breaths and landing in your practice, landing on your mat, in your time, your space, and your intention. just continuing to expand into the deep diaphragmatic breaths. Each exhale, softening and lengthening, slowing it down. We'll be here for about 4 more breaths. After your next exhale, maybe with the inhale, leaning back, taking your arms back behind you, and just keeping the legs as they are for a moment. Lean back, puff up the chest. From there, we just want to slowly take our hands to the outside of the knees and straighten the legs forward. And we're going to come straight into our caterpillar pose. So I'll come side on. This time, you might make great use of your bolster or even your blocks. Caterpillar pose is just a seated forward fold. And again, just making sure we're sitting right on the edge of our blanket to put our hips in this ideal position for our forward flexion. And we're just going to breathe Ujjayi and slowly just start to lift through the abdomen, and on the exhales hinge from the hips, just to start the stretch the right way. And then we just want to allow softening, sinking. So you could be using your bolster to sink onto. If that range is too much, you can use blocks. Or again, if it's still too far, it's really nice to get that parasympathetic response of that light pressure between the eyebrows and the forehead. So you might just lift up the bolster so your forehead can rest, and you can still stay in a nice forward flexion. So whichever works for you best. And I just want to encourage this idea of yin yoga, that we're not physically taking our body into a posture. No. With our yin yoga, let's try and remember that the posture is bringing us into our body. So we just set up for the posture, and then we breathe. And with the breath, slowly we're invited into the body, we're invited into the experience through the posture itself. So just trying to remember that order and never creating any force. We just want to work towards what we would call the edge. So the edge in our yin yoga is that line of response or even slight resistance from the muscles to release. And right there we know that if we sit and be patient, slowly they respond, release, relax and let go. If we were to be forcing too much depth, well then the muscles would react in this fight-flight response. They would tense up and it would be really hard for them to then let go. Like often when you get the deep tissue massage and they go a little bit too hard, the muscles get rigid and often it's not so effective. So with yin yoga, less is more. Soft is the approach. So soft Ujjayi should lead to your soft mindset towards softening into your pose. With each exhale, can you just soften 1% more through the body, through the attitude, through the breath? We'll be here for another 2 breaths. And just starting to use your hands very slowly upright the spine. Just taking the hands back behind you. Lean back, puffing up the chest. You might choose to rest your back of the head to the shoulders. Removing any props. You might just shake the legs, the knees, windshield wipe through the hips. We're transitioning into the opposite spectrum of our spinal direction. No reason for rhyme. And the option with this one is to use 2 blocks, 3 blocks, or if you've just got bolster is fine. But it's nice to have progressive steps for this one that you can use and slowly build. So basically, just to quickly demonstrate, I'll be bringing 2 blocks and sliding them under my low back, resting that sacrum or the firm part of the low back to the blocks. Resting my hands, I'll pause there for a while. After some time, I'll straighten my legs, and after some more time, I'll reach my arms up and behind my head. And now, let's just go ahead and set ourselves up, prepare with our blocks, pressing through the feet, placing 1, 2 blocks under the low back. If you know you have a really bendy back, and the back bends just to make you sing and dance on the inside, then you might have a 3rd block ready, or you might go right ahead and have that extra block or the extra stack of whatever you're using. Otherwise, just settle in here for a few deep breaths, giving the back some time to adjust into this new direction. From there you might stay as you are, or extend 1 leg and then 2 legs. Stretching out through the toes, the entire leg. Deep breaths, Ujjayi breath. that's feeling fine, you might stay there. Otherwise, on an inhale, you might direct your arms up above the chest. And on an exhale, you might begin to reach your arms out and behind your head. Stretching out the entire body in this extension from the fingertips to the toes. We'll be here for another 6 deep, slow breaths, encouraging the expansion of the abdomen and the entire diaphragm and entire lungs on the inhale, and slowing and softening into each exhale. Just enjoying that last exhale. Before just bringing the arms back up and over so the hands can rest by the thighs. We'll pause here for 2 breaths. When you're ready, bending one knee at a time, feet coming down to the floor, just beyond the blocks, pausing there, 2 more breaths. And from there, lightly pressing into the feet and pushing the blocks away, the away towards the feet. Not going too deep or too hard to begin. Alright, from here, take your time, but we do want to roll up to seated. You might face the long edge of your mat. We're coming into dragonfly. I would recommend placing that blanket once again under your hips. Your feet are going to find themselves as wide as possible, sitting on the edge of your blanket. And again, making use of blocks or the bolster with your dragonfly. Just take a moment sitting here, and then when you're ready, you might just start to hinge from the hip, lean it forward, and then find either straight arms, elbows to blocks, or if you're quite flexible, you might take your elbows all the way to the floor, and just tucking the chin to the chest. Option to have a bolster, again to rest the forehead, unless you're happy to have the chin tucked and the back of the neck stretching long. And just remembering the rule of thumb for our yin yoga is working toward the edge and then just sitting there at the edge, just breathing through, allowing time for the posture to invite your body more and more into the pose, to let the muscles and the fascia and the connective tissue begin to respond. And just remembering the connective tissue, our fascia, is a slow response. It requires that little bit longer, more patience. But the beauty is that the effects are long-lasting, so you're patient with it, and it's more rewarding and giving onto you and your experience. So just take your time. Inhales are deepening. Ujjayi exhales, soft and slow. And remembering that as the exhales soften, slow, and you might be finding a deeper invitation into the stretch. So just moving towards the edge as the edge moves within and into the posture. Don't be afraid to go a little deeper. Just taking a last breath or two there. And then using your hands, you can walk yourself up and back, hands behind the hips, lean back, puff up the chest. Taking the hands under the knees, you can gently free the legs. Nice work. Take your props to the side. Take a moment just to maybe windshield through the hips. From here we'll take a brief stretch called the cat pulling its tail. So if I was to demonstrate, I'll just talk you in. Let's go. Come onto your right side. Take your left hand and grab your right foot. You're going to lie all the way down to your side, holding onto that foot. And you come into a bit of a twist, pulling that foot towards the buttock, and then allowing yourself to twist open. So with the inhale, pressing the foot into the hand. With the exhale, maybe allowing your chest to draw open to your left, your gaze to your left side. An option here is to have your bolster ready to support, if needed, your left leg. You can rest your left leg over the bolster. So each breath you might find with the exhale that there is more opportunity to broaden the upper back, to ground down the left shoulder, and to take your gaze over your left shoulder. Softening into each breath, each exhale, long and slow. And we'll just take 2 breaths here. When you're ready, you might release the foot, bring the knees back to center. If you use the bolster, rolling the bolster to the opposite side. And when you're ready, right hand, left foot, taking the left outer thigh to the mat, rolling with your left hip, and come up, lightly pushing. And with your exhales, allowing that anchoring of the right shoulder, and maybe the gaze turning out over your right shoulder. Connecting back to Ujjayi breath. And allowing that patience, that alignment with your intention, that softness of your breath. Allow yourself to settle in and go into the experience of the posture, allowing your body to unfold as you breathe. Be here for another 3 breaths. Take your time. And then when you're ready, releasing the foot, gently bending the top leg, and slowly uprighting the knees, squaring the low back. And just take some deep breaths, pressing your low back into the floor with your deep breath in. All right, to finish this wonderful adventure off, we have an inversion with some hips. So your options are to use 2 blocks or a bolster. If you're using 2 blocks, I would be stacking them like so, creating a little ramp. One is the base and one is ramping up. A little jump for your Meccano set. And then sliding them under your back, otherwise lifting them to the hips, sliding the bolster. If you find the bolster's too thick, take it from the hips and slowly roll it under your bottom, under the buttocks. Nice work. And you want to again feel the firm part of your coccyx, your low back. The hips rested on the bolster. Now I always say with these yin postures, consider every posture your opportunity of Shavasana. Especially now we've found our inversion with all the beautiful effects of our inverted postures. A great opportunity to really let go and go deep. What we will do, however, is take your right foot and bend at the knee. The right ankle is going to come in front of the left knee. And then we can draw the legs up and over, creating a hip stretch, or creating figure 4, or thread the needle. You might reach your right arm through the gap, the triangle under your right knee, and take the back of the shin or knee, lightly placing the weight of the hands through that leg, creating this glorious inverted figure 4. Again, those options to keep the legs straight and let the weight of the legs do all the work here. And our final option, if you really want to work into the hamstring, is to reach up and take a bind of the big toe with the index and middle finger. If there's any discomfort being caused in the right knee, just encourage you here to flex the right foot to support that knee. Lengthening out each exhale, softening into your inversion, allowing the receptivity of mind, mood, physical body. Two last breaths on this side. When you're ready, releasing the foot, straightening out both legs and bringing your left ankle in front of your right knee. Bending into the knee or finding the version that works for you. You might even press away the left knee, create some space in the hip, choosing to reach through the gap, holding the shin, the back of the leg, or reaching out to the big toe.
Just taking another 2 or so breaths on this side. Untangling the legs, keeping both knees bent, give both the legs a hug in the chest. Option to stay here, or even wrap the arms under the legs, squeezing the calves down on top of the forearms, or straightening out the legs for your last posture of a forward fold. Hands might rest out to the mat, treating this just like a shavasana, a chance to completely let go, to become the witness or the witness consciousness of the moment, aware of the entirety, the totality of this moment in time, the experience and the environment, both the inner and outer world of body and mind. With each inhale, allow your awareness to be expanding outward. You're aware of the sounds all around. Simultaneously aware of all of the feelings of the body, the sensations of the stretch, the air on your skin, the fabric of the clothes, the weight of your body, the tongue resting behind the teeth, the softening of the brows, the face, the movement of the breath. Aware of any smells and any tastes. And aware of the feelings energetically of the body. If there's moods or emotion, you have a expanding awareness that is aware, that knows it's there. But this witness consciousness, our expanding awareness, it moves through each and every fine detail without attaching, just observing, without getting hooked on any one thing. Allow your awareness to continue like a cloud, just moving so softly. Expand outward with your awareness. Let there be no limit. Remembering that this is your practice, allow yourself to be aligned with your intention to soften and receive the benefits by surrendering more with every exhale. When you're ready, we're just going to bend the knees, keeping the knees to the chest. Use your hands to lightly push the bolster away, just beyond the hips. And then the knees landing, the back of the knees landing over the bolster. We'll spend
brief moment in Shavasana, remembering you can stay as long as you need. Let go completely. If you're just spending 60 minutes today for your practice, so bring some movement back into your body. Stretching the hands, the wrists, the feet, whatever feels right for you, and make your way to one side. Come back to seated. Thank you very much for practicing. Namaste.